What's the deal, family? Welcome back to another episode of the SOS podcast. I am Cameron, and this is my beautiful wife, Erin. What's going on, babe?
Not much, just
Pregnant?
waddling along. Just waddling along. How are you?
I'm good, I'm glad to be in our new
Our new basement.
our new basement.
If you are not watching on YouTube, you have to go watch because
yeah,
it's looking real good.
it's like a little vibe down here. If I had to paint it out, we actually got the bar area now as the background. Inspired by the both of us, we put something together and made it special.
Yeah, it turned out really well. It was a long process, but we made it.
For sure. So we got some things going on for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cheers. What are we sipping on? Well, we're sipping on different things today. I have peppermint tea.
And I have just Empress Gin Tonic. Typically, I do not drink this, but for the sake of a quick cocktail and something easy to make and a very slow sip, might I add.
Oh, Lord.
Gin and tonic it is.
The first time I had a gin and tonic was in Cape Town.
Really?
Yeah. What's the grapefruit doing?
It's just really
there?
garnish.
Oh.
Honestly. Maybe it'll knock off a little.
Because it kind of looks purple. Oh, you used the Empress gin.
Yeah. It kind of will knock off the edge of the gin too.
Yeah.
But had to make a cocktail for the first time in our new basement with our new bar. So
he's been mocktailing with me
I've been
for the last
mocktailing,
few episodes. For all of the episodes.
About to get the cocktails back cracking. So y'all just be ready for that.
Yeah, and I am 30, little pregnancy update. 35 weeks I'll be when this goes up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
5 more weeks to go?
Yeah, 5 weeks to go. I think she's going to come a little early, personally.
Yeah, I think so too.
So far, so good. I mean, it's been a pretty smooth pregnancy. I just feel like I'm just getting larger. So things are just so much more uncomfortable, like little things. Like I can't squeeze through things anymore. Like I used to be able to if somebody's chair is pulled back a little bit too far in the table and you can just kind of shimmy through. I can't shimmy through anything.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't see my feet anymore unless I lean over to look at them. And honestly, I can't see anything below my stomach. Nothing. What else? And I'm just I am on a pretty good healthy diet right now to get me through the final stretch. So I'm trying to just maintain that, which has been not that fun, but here we are.
I feel you.
So otherwise, things are good. Oh, and turning over in bed is just getting increasingly more difficult. I make all these sound effects. And it's just
it's hilarious.
It's not fun. Yeah, so
it's funny.
We're in the home stretch. I can tell. I'm okay. Every pregnant woman's okay, once you hit that last little bit, you're gonna be so over it. And I think that I'm approaching that time. So, but all is well. So.
Well, cheers to 5 weeks.
So 5 more weeks. Oh, another update. We had the baby shower. And it was it was just the cutest baby shower ever. It was so sweet. It was all women. I did it completely opposite of how we intended to do it, which kind of is a nice little segue into what we're talking about on this episode. But I literally was I want it to be co-ed and non-traditional and all of these things. And it turned out to be women only and very traditional.
Was it very traditional? What did y'all do that made it traditional?
It was a traditional baby shower.
Okay.
We didn't play a whole bunch of games, though. We played cute little stay in your seat games. Right. I knew I didn't want to play, change the poopy diaper or who can guzzle the bottle down the fastest or things like that. But it was just a very classy, cute baby shower. And it was very, not super long either. So I was happy with how it turned out. The vlog will be up on the channel.
What was your favorite part?
But I'm glad it's over.
What was the favorite part? I don't think I actually asked you that.
Favorite part? I think just seeing how good everything came together.
Okay.
Everything ran smoothly. Everyone really enjoyed the shower, which showers aren't the most enjoyable thing. I don't think. in general, like
No.
bridal showers, baby showers, even as a woman. Like, it's kind of like
Some women
gotta go
enjoy
to a
it.
shower. Like, I'm not the type who just loves going to showers. So I'm glad that people really enjoyed the food, the vibe. We picked a really nice venue. So it was just a fun time. And everyone looked so cute and bright. The theme was Our Little Cutie. So everyone wore like bright colors and it was really fun and feminine. So
I did show up at the end, if you were wondering.
Cameron showed up and some of her uncles.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was really cute. Okay. Into the episode. This or that. New York or LA?
LA.
Why?
I can drive whatever car I want and not have to worry too much about it.
That's why.
I mean, whether if I had to choose one extreme or the other, yeah, LA. Just whether I don't have to really worry about my car per se.
Mm-hmm.
There's space, bigger space.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my dome, that would be my top 3.
Okay, that's solid. That's better than just driving your car.
That would,
you
it's
want.
always like my first like response to something. But
Okay, for me, it's kind of hard because I love New York.
I know.
I love the energy of New York. I feel like it just matches me more than LA. And I've always wanted to live in New York for like a short period of time, just to see like what it's like living there.
Yeah.
But the space really does get to me. Like the fact that you pay $4,000 for like less than 1,000 square feet in a nice like apartment is insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like the space is just ugh. But LA is just so far. Like at least with New York, I'm close to family. Like I feel like you can get places more easily from New York versus LA, where it's just like 4 hours, 5-hour flight from my family. So it just seems so far. And then I don't know. LA vibe just I like the weather, but I don't know if I could live there. So I'm gonna go New York.
Okay. I can't live in either, so it was more so this or that.
I think if we
I'm not gonna say I can't live in either, but
I think now having a family, if I had to live somewhere, I would pick LA.
Yeah, with a family for sure.
But just me off of like which city I feel like I'd enjoy more,
I would say
pick New
that
York.
there are, in my most recent times of New York visiting, I would enjoy New York now.
In summertime, New York is just unbeatable. Like LA is just always LA. I don't know. I just feel like there's no change in vibe ever.
Nah. Yeah, I feel like overall vibe probably New York, but just lifestyle probably LA.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Well, that was a simple one, but you know. Okay, so what are we talking about?
Traditions.
Okay.
So you just talked about you had your baby shower and it started off as untraditional and then ended up traditional.
Yeah.
Now I gotta know when we talk about a traditional baby shower, what does that mean? What does the traditional baby shower look like?
I feel like a traditional baby shower is typically all women. I feel like most traditional showers are all women.
Okay.
And I think there's games, there's food, like it's very, there's probably some florals, like some decorations. A lot of times you open gifts at showers. That's a very traditional thing. We did not open gifts. That was something that I was very adamant about not doing. I just hate sitting there watching people just open gifts. And I think that's about it. I mean, it's just like a very feminine time. Yeah. Like a lot of these non-traditional showers, like when I say non-traditional, I was like, I want it to be co-ed. I want it to kind of feel like a backyard party type thing. Like that have a DJ, have like, but my vision was a lot bigger than what we were willing to pay for a shower. And I'm like, at that point, we might as well buy all the stuff. So, so we decided not to go that route and to make a more intimate, woman-only shower. And I actually really enjoyed it. I feel like for I was just thinking about how like our wedding and my bridal shower were both kind of like backyard vibes.
Yeah.
Even though like our wedding turned out to be really nice, I wouldn't consider that to ever be a backyard party.
Nah, that
But
wasn't a
it
backyard
was a
vibe.
very like
Yeah.
classy wedding.
It was
It
something
just
out
happened
of-
to be outside.
It was kind of something out of nothing.
But I just was like, I kind of like the idea of doing it at a venue and kind of having like an actual event, you know, like something
Right.
that felt different than what we've previously done. So, yeah, I mean, that would be what I would consider traditional, like all women type thing.
Okay.
But we're seeing like so many people break the traditions. Like I saw somebody's baby shower was like a taco. They had it at a taco restaurant, and like guys were there, girls were there. It was very chilled, laid back. Like I think people are starting to kind of break the traditions of like your typical baby shower or bridal shower or whatever.
Or whatever.
So yeah.
Okay.
So when we were talking about this in the car, because we were supposed to be talking about like traditions versus like our decisions, not necessarily
Yeah,
traditions, but
yeah.
kind of like why we made certain decisions. So like
Yeah.
one of them was I always wanted to not do a first look when we
Yeah.
got married. And we ended up doing a first look.
Did others around you not want you to do a first look?
No,
Okay.
I just personally always
I didn't
wanted-
know. I never. I just these questions are coming up now since we kind of talked about it in the car. I was
Yeah.
like, wait.
No, nobody ever was like, you shouldn't do a first look.
Okay.
But I just like the tradition of the groom seeing the bride when she first like walks down the aisle
Right.
for the first time. And I also, people like there's superstitions that say like it's bad luck to see the bride before
You say I do.
you get married. But I'm like, well, then who came up with the first look idea? And like, does that not count? You know? Because like the morning of, we didn't see each other. But like once it was time for the first look, we did.
I mean, personally, I don't believe in none of those.
I mean,
things,
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I
No, I'm
guess
just
that was
saying,
a
like,
tradition that was broken.
yeah.
But so for you, like, did you care? Like, were you ever like,
It never crossed my mind that if I saw you at any point in the morning that we wouldn't get married or that
no,
we would
not
have a
that we
terrible.
wouldn't get married, but
or-
were you like, "Ugh, I wish I could just see her when she walks down the aisle?
No,
Why?
I don't. I feel like the flow of in which that our wedding day demanded is what I had to go with.
Yeah.
Like, you know, whether I feel like whether we did a first look or we didn't, it just would have been what it was. For the sake of time and time of the year, daylight and all that, it made sense to do first look because we got our pictures done like before the wedding even started. That way we didn't have to go and we still did pictures after the ceremony, but it would have been even longer because we would have been trying to get so
certain
much
pictures,
and
yeah.
certain so
But not thinking about our situation, I'm saying like most men, well, I'll just ask you because I'm not even going to generalize. Before we decided, logistics would make the most sense for us to do a first look.
yeah.
When you thought about us getting married, did you ever just think like, I'm going to see her for the first time walking down the aisle?
I mean, I think I assumed that's what was going to happen just because.
And was that something that you wanted?
I can't say that's something that I wanted because I thought that was the only way. I didn't know what a first look was until you told me like, oh, we're going to do a first look. So
Oh, Lord.
I'm for real. I mean, I didn't know.
Okay.
So I can't say
So you were like indifferent. Like it didn't matter.
like, oh, okay, cool. First look, I reserved the rooftop to do our pictures. I thought that was a vibe.
Yeah.
It was fun. Not that we needed it, but I feel like there was it gave us a very chilled atmosphere entering the ceremony or whatever.
Yeah.
So like there was no, I don't know. No, I don't even think there would have been pressure, but there was no pressure for lack
Yeah.
of better terms, I guess.
So do you feel like you felt the same way? So like, okay, during the first look, do you
Right.
feel like you had the same emotion that you did when you saw me walking down the aisle?
Yeah.
You
Do you
did.
think? Do you think I did?
Or do you think seeing me walking down the aisle, like, do you think seeing me walking down the aisle would have had a bigger, like, you would have had, not a bigger emotion, but like, do you think you would have had a more, like, I don't know, intense emotion had you seen me for the first time walking down the aisle?
I don't think so. I don't know. I, I don't think
Because
so.
that's the thing that most people say. Like, the first look kind of takes away from
I
from
think
the groom's
for
experience of like kind of seeing you for the first time walking down the aisle and you're his bride, and it's like this moment of like you
I
coming
feel
to
like I'm
him.
just not the typical guy in general. So I don't think that I ever painted this picture of how I would react in any of the situations.
Right.
Because I feel like just like having a baby is just like you got to expect the unexpected. Most women want you to cry, or most people are like, "Are you gonna cry?" Like that's the main question I got. Now me knowing myself, anytime I'm just in a environment that is either for the first time or just maybe uncomfortable, which that wasn't uncomfortable, but it was the first time, I resort to smiling. And in our case, I also want the day to go so great for what it was, and a lot of my focus was also on that. So, had we had our regular wedding plans, maybe my emotions would have been different. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
think per our situation and going through the pandemic and all that, and just hoping this day just went as smooth as possible for you, I think I had a lot of focus on that alone. Um, and by the time you walk down the aisle, just like before, I just kind of
Was it kind of like I already seen her?
no.
Okay.
I feel like regardless, when you walk down, the first look is the first look. That doesn't. We're not doing the whole vow thing. Like I hadn't read anything to you,
Right.
so I think it's its own experience.
Mhm.
Now if someone has that attitude toward it, then that's on that person. But I feel like it had its own experience. Like the ceremony and the first look were two different things to me.
Okay.
Like I don't think that I was like, oh my god, I shouldn't have seen her in the first look. I shouldn't
Yeah.
have seen her on the rooftop. I had fun doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like that was to me the take this lightly. I feel like that was the best part
Why?
because it was just us. I feel like we got to
Yeah.
kind of just be us in that moment before we got shower. And you want to get showered and love and stuff like that, but I enjoy, me. I kind of enjoy like just being us, like
Yeah.
being with in our little bubble sometime. And I feel like that was a great way for me to start, not even knowing that I need to start that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think it kind of took some of the edge off
Yeah.
from the day. And, I guess either way you do it, it's your experience. But yeah, I was opposed. I was like, we were really trying to figure out, like, how can we.
So you didn't want to do the first look.
I did not want to do the first
Right.
look. You probably don't remember because it was just so much going on.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do the first look. And I was like, I was trying to figure it out. And you were like, babe, if you want pictures downtown, it's not going to work. Like, there's no way. Our wedding started too late. It was like a 5 o'clock wedding in October. So the sunlight was going to be gone by 7:30. So it was
Shoot,
kind of
before that, I
like,
think.
yeah. So it's kind of like if we want good wedding pictures, then we want to prioritize that, which we did. Then we really had no choice. So with how far the venue was from
So did
downtown,
that affect you?
I think looking back and like on the day of, I was like, oh, this is fine, like whatever. Okay. And I was also kind of like, let's just get this. Let's just take the path of least resistance at this point. Like we've already got a lot going on. So I think it ended up being a great experience.
Okay.
So the other thing I was going to ask was us not living together before we got married. That was another thing that we were both adamant about.
Yeah.
So was that the one that we talked about in the car?
You brought that up, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yes. So what about not living together? Before married?
I think just growing up, I think we're adamant about it because we were told not to.
Okay.
I am not indifferent about it, just because I feel like you don't need to live with someone to think that it's going to work. But if you do, I guess cool. Like, I mean, I feel like again, everybody's experience is different. Also, everybody's situation is different. Like for us, um, we kind of had our version of what life would look like, while we were dating.
Right.
Like me coming to DC, that was a version of that.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, you do find a way to kind of see what life looks like. So I can't say there was just no type of experience at all or whatever.
Right.
You
Like
know what
we
I
saw
mean?
each other's like habits,
Yeah. So I
even though we didn't live
together.
together.
Yeah. So for me, that was enough.
Okay, so why do you feel like that was something that why do you feel like that's something you don't have to do in
Uh,
order to know if it's the right fit?
I'll keep it a buck. If you dirty, you probably know the person dirty, and if you don't know the person dirty, you just simply not paying attention.
That's
Like,
usually the thing that I hear most people talking about is like
seeing what they do,
cleanliness. Yeah, like you
seeing
want to
what they
see how
do
they
around the
are
house.
around the house.
If you argue, you gonna argue whether you live together or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you getting a place together doesn't mean that's gonna limit or make the arguments worse. It's just like you are already arguing.
Right.
Like,
Do you think that because people say that marriage, what do they say? Like magnifies your problems. So if there's red flags that you may have not picked up on while dating and you get married, then now they're just like bigger and more apparent.
I think the excuse for
So what I'm trying to say is like most of the time when people refer to those types of things, it's like once you live together, I feel like, because I mean, whether you're married or not and you're living together, technically if you're married or not, like you're still experiencing the same thing.
I feel like people use those things as excuses. Instead of just calling out whatever the red flag is. Like you've been known this about this person, but you decided to move past it and just now like, oh, we're gonna move in together. Now all of a sudden, because it's every day, now you're like, oh, you're forced to say something. So
because if you're seeing this person once a week,
we can make something harder for ourselves and not even realize it sometimes.
Yeah.
Or like this is a dumb decision, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Or it could be the greatest decision in the world. And like I said, it's situational. Some people may have to do so. Right. Like you never know.
Yeah, well, like if you live in LA or New York and you're dating and you're practically with each other every single day, and like it's y'all like we know we're gonna be together.
Like 8 to 10 grand.
Yeah, like logistically, this just does not make sense.
If that's your person, but I feel like you need to really hash out or kind of confirm with one another. Like, if we gonna do this is what we gonna do. Like, this is what we need to be doing.
Now, I personally, like, I feel like the older I got, I was like, I was very adamant about not wanting to live together before I got married, but like. In the case that I had stayed in DC and like you maybe found a job in DC, like we kind of talked about that, but I'm like, I wouldn't have wanted to do it if we weren't at least engaged. Like that was my thing. I'm like, we have to at least be engaged. And I would have even been fine with getting engaged and going to the courthouse, getting married, and then having a wedding whenever we felt comfortable versus like, cause I mean, both of us were like, we could just get married literally right now when we got engaged. I feel like engagement is just like when you're just ready, it's like what's the point?
Yeah. I feel like engagement is definitely not a time where you need another year or however much longer to I guess confirm that you want to marry the person. Like that's just for me when I proposed and we got engaged, also at that moment we could have just simply been married.
Yeah.
I feel like at that time is when I made the commitment forever. Not I'm gonna ask her and then I'll confirm
have a whole
the commitment
year to make sure. Yeah.
Next July.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah. So I agree. I don't think you have to live with someone in order to get to know them enough. I totally agree that most of the time people are just ignoring the signs.
Yeah, but then I think people say blame it on like, oh, marriage is tough, marriage is hard, and it can be, yeah, absolutely. But have you ever like wondered like why is it?
Yeah.
Like, when do we like look back at ourselves, even individually as the person, like as a husband or as a wife, like, dang, I was doing this. This actually making our marriage hard.
Yeah.
Not it's just hard. Like, no, what I'm doing is not beneficial to us.
Mm-hmm.
So and it hasn't been even before we got married. So like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think people ignore those red flags. And it's sometimes a red flag that doesn't have to stay a red flag. It's just y'all haven't communicated maybe enough. Y'all haven't worked through what can make he or she better in a situation. Like, that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we're gonna make this decision, but we haven't figured this out yet.
Right.
So now we done made a decision. Now that's kind of covering this red flag. I guess I'm gonna keep using that word because I don't know what else to use. But like, we're gonna make this decision. Now this is our main focus now. So now this red flag is kind of covered. Now we're gonna forget about it. But then now we get married. Now we've moved in together, and now this red flag is slowly peeling back, and it's coming back up. And you're like, whoa. And now it's not, oh, I see you on the weekends. Now it's I see you every morning.
Yeah. I think people don't really know how to truly like correct, like help their significant other become like aware of what they're maybe doing or how like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to, I would say it can be difficult to get to that point where you have a level of comfort where you are okay with giving feedback and the other person is receptive and they care enough about you to make that change, whether it's like they want to change they have to change for themselves, but like it's like accelerated or ignited because it's something that they love you so much that they want to change themselves for you. You know what I mean? But not necessarily for you. It's like, I want to be better because I want to be better for her.
I think it's like you realize that in order for this to work, I have to be better. And because I'm better, now we are great.
Exactly.
But I think the biggest thing that a lot of people fail at doing is holding themselves accountable. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like people are we're selfish. Like, we're going to think about ourselves first, what we want, what we like, what we desire, all those things, right? But sometimes we do have to step back and say, all right, let me try to look at it from her point of view. Like, I hear you, and maybe you said something 2-3 times. I'm like, okay, let me actually try to understand what you're saying, and instead of like, well, my point is my point. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No, let me like try to feel what she's doing.
Or just like, getting frustrated that I keep saying it. It's like, you know how if like you keep bringing something up, like, okay. If you keep bringing something up, not us, but
you
like,
do that though.
If you keep bringing something up, but I feel like, well, you're not like doing anything about it. So why are you mad that I keep bringing it up? If I'm mad too, because you're not doing anything about it. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I don't think people are okay with like, especially girls. I feel like girls women's delivery can be off because that's the issue that we had at
you come
first.
in with these high expectations that this man is just going to be your perfect ideal of a man, basically. Well, like, they're going to do everything that you've pictured that your whole life. Yeah. And they may not be strong in some of those areas.
Well, I think I guess what I'm trying to say is it's like a lot of times it's how you say it, not what you're saying. What you're saying, yeah. And I think that's when I became more comfortable and you became more comfortable actually implementing things that I was trying to say, you know? Like, somebody I know actually, she and her boyfriend, like, they'll go see each other here and there. They don't live in the same exact city. So like, they'll go and see each other, and he has a dog. And she didn't want to watch the dog. Basically, watch the dog. Watch. He wanted her to watch the dog for the weekend.
Who are you? Well, I guess you can't see on here.
Yeah, I can't see on here. Yeah. He wanted her to watch the dog for the weekend. She likes the dog when she goes to his place, but like, she didn't want to basically watch the dog. Like, come. He basically dropped the dog off, go handle his business for the weekend, and then come back and get his dog. So she didn't know how to tell him, like, I don't want to watch this dog. Like, that's too much. I like the dog, but not enough to, like, have the dog at my house and watch it. Right. So basically, she never says anything. The dog comes over and she's like irritated the whole time. He comes, picks up the dog. She's just like not happy. He keeps asking her, like, he asked her, like, are you sure you're okay with this? And she's like, yeah, but she didn't want to upset him. So,
If someone's
and
asking
so
you,
then, she has this like little attitude when he drops the dog off, and he's like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine, whatever, whatever. So then he picks the dog up, and she's still like irritated or whatever, because now she's had the dog for the whole weekend. The dog's
right.
shedding all over her place, and like, she's got to walk the dog, all this stuff. So he finally ends up asking her, like, I know something is wrong. Like, what is wrong? So she finally ended up telling him. And I think a lot of times, and he was just like, why didn't you just say something, And I think a lot of times, I feel like either women are like overbearing or like they don't say enough because they're so scared that the guy is going to take it the wrong way
Or you're going to lose the guy.
But at the end of the day, it's like, if you want to be with somebody, you have to be able to like speak up,
Right.
Like if you don't want to do something, or if you're not there yet, or if you don't, I don't know, it's not your vibe or whatever, like you have to be able to like say that, because otherwise, like, how are y'all gonna actually develop a relationship,
Yeah.
So I just thought that was funny, because I'm like, it can either go one of two ways. Like, you can either be overkill with like kind of just nagging at stuff,
Right.
or you can think you're a good communicator and you're a great talker until it's time to share something that actually is like a stepping stone in your relationship, and you can't like muscle up the energy.
I just don't get why we
muscle
make
up the energy to say it
so hard that doesn't have to be hard. Like, that's not her dog. So like, bro, you can't.
But that's her man.
I don't care.
I'm just saying. That's how she's looking at it.
Are they married?
She doesn't want to ruffle. She doesn't want to inconvenience him and all this stuff.
The way I see it
that's how a lot of women are. It's like, oh, I like him so much. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to inconvenience him. I don't want to ruffle his feathers. I want to be nice. And that's how you end up building a relationship that doesn't, like, it really doesn't serve you at the end of the day.
But also you're showing and you're telling the man that you don't demand anything of greatness. Like, you
of
just
greatness.
Yes, you're not. Like,
I
feel
think
like
it's more of like
if I keep asking you, or it's not like the man has asked her multiple times. I don't even know who this is, but this is annoying. But like, if I say, babe, or whatever, hey, you want to keep my dog the weekend? I have to travel 3 times out. Every few weeks I have to go. I'm going 2 weekends, back to back maybe. So every weekend I need you to keep my dog, but you don't want to. Now, I ask you, are you okay with this? And you say, yeah, it's fine. What's the point in lying and saying, yeah, it's okay? Like, that makes 0 sense.
But here's the thing, though. And this is why when you do this as a woman, you cannot be upset with the man, because, like, what if he asks you again and again and again? He's going to keep asking.
Cool,
he's like, cool, I ain't got to send my dog to the kennel or the doggy hotel or whatever.
Exactly.
I don't got to pay no extra money. Cool. And you are mad and you are trying to give him these passive aggressive signs that you're upset, but you're not saying anything. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, you end up with the short end of the stick because you ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, that's dumb.
So I don't know. I think, on both ends, like, it can bite you in the butt. And I'm not like trying to pick on women, because men have things too.
No, men got their thing for sure.
But I think, like, for the sake of just how this conversation just rolled, you just got to say the hard things.
But I feel like I've learned with us that everything doesn't have to be hard. I feel like we label things that are, I guess, hard or easy, but why are they hard?
Well, I would say you say the hard things, because for some people, certain things are hard to say. Like, it's like, because to me, it's like, you don't know how someone's going to react or respond. Right. So, like, for the most part, if you have this easygoing relationship, things have been smooth, y'all haven't had anything where you bumped heads at all, and then suddenly there's something that comes up and you're like, I don't want to do that, or I don't agree with that. And it's like,
Yeah.
you don't really know in that you don't know how they're going to respond to that. And it turns out he responded very well to her once she ended up telling him, which that is how you build trust. Like once we started like having that, like,
but that's what I'm
oh,
trying to
he didn't respond
but
in
that's
the
what
way
I'm trying
that
to
I
say. I feel like
twisted my mind to think he might break up with me because I said whatever.
that to me, that's a huge insecurity though. It's just like, to me, that's what I'm saying. Why does it have to be hard? If you just simply said, oh no, I'm not comfortable with that, I'm like, all right, cool. This ain't got, that has, my dog has zero to do with you. I still have to figure out whether you're gonna keep my dog or not. I still have to figure out where my dog is gonna go.
And the dog has been surviving for however long you've had them before you came along. So
yeah, no, that's dumb. But that one, yeah. I don't even want to know who it is because I don't want to have to look at this person and like think, so don't even tell me.
But yeah, I mean, this conversation has been a very organically flowing one. Yeah. But I think overall, you know, traditional or not, like, I feel like just do what
I think you gotta allow
works
your
for
relationship
you.
to flow. Yeah, allow your relationship to flow how it's going to flow. Yeah, that kind of annoyed me. I think I did.
And I think, you know, just to just tie up the whole tradition thing, I feel like ask the questions. Like we kind of talked about this on another episode, but like, why is that a tradition, or why do I feel the need to do this thing? Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, the first look was actually, we got our best pictures. We had a great time. Like it was a great experience for both of us. And like looking back, I don't regret doing that. Like I don't feel like either of us missed out on anything, or like we didn't even have a bridal party, and like we didn't, I don't know, we just didn't do things that.
And I didn't even want a bridal
party.
party.
We did like not live together before marriage, but you know, there are certain traditions that we're willing to follow and certain ones that we just don't, just because we don't want to.
But also, sometimes life doesn't even allow you to keep those traditions up. Like, when you stop paying attention to, or stop trying to force what you think is something is supposed to look like or go about, like, that's when I feel like things really get hard. Yeah. But if your life is telling you like, oh no, you need to go this direction, like this is what's going to work for you or for y'all, like take that. Yeah. Like see what that's about.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, my last question before we wrap, because it's getting long, but what is a tradition you would like to start?
I feel like we've already started, but I think for the both of us, we have both agreed that family time isn't the same as when we were younger. Mm-hmm. And a big goal of ours is to be able to get both of our families together and you know, make it one big happy family again. Yeah. Like our families are, yes, close, happy and all those things, but even our families have to an extent separated in ways that are, for me, have been hard, just because I'm like, dang, I thought this would be like forever. Yeah. You know, even before becoming an adult, it's just like, you know, your cousins, they get married, then their wives or husbands, they do things a certain way. They, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to work with that. Yeah. Some better than others. But you know, I think that's a big thing, is just getting everybody under one roof again for all the things, whatever that may mean.
Yeah, like holidays, even just like backyard parties, barbecues, like whatever.
Family dinners, stuff like that. So and not just one-sided family. We're talking about joining both of our families. You know,
and I think now that we're having a baby, like our families will definitely be coming together more, just because like they want to see the baby and they want to come to the birthday parties and the dance recitals and this and that and the third. So it's like, you know, naturally once you have kids, you start to morph your families together. But like we want to be like intentional, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't want to seem like, oh well, our kid doesn't really know.
Yeah, this side that good,
or who is that?
Yeah. No, we don't want that.
Yeah, and you know, for even, you know, some family we have, it's like that. So I don't want that for our child. And thankfully, thank God, our families are, I would say, quite comfortable with one another. I
Yeah.
would say more comfortable than some others that have kind of described that. Oh no, it ain't like that for us, type of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for um, our families being able to get along and talk to one another, have create their own memories, like
Yeah.
uncles and aunts creating memories with other uncles and aunts, cousins, collaborating or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. But so that's my long term or our long term tradition is going to look like. So
Yeah.
yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
And then of course like family traditions, like we want to keep up our
our
Christmas
Christmas trip,
trips
yeah.
and things like that. And once the baby is here, we're like, oh, we should like get a pizza oven and like do pizza nights
Yeah.
or like things like that. So like just trying to figure that out. I mean, once
Oh, our own tradition. We can have a whole
yeah,
episode
I'm
about
sure we'll
that.
have our own like
Yeah.
immediate family traditions
Yeah,
as
for
well.
sure.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, hope y'all enjoyed this. If you rock with me, then you rock with us. This one was kind of long, but hey, welcome to our basement.
right, we're like just kind of vibing. We haven't been
Yeah.
on in 2 weeks, so
we recorded,
a week.
but we missed another week after that. We're just trying to
so
get
a
back
little
into
longer
a flow.
is fine.
We're gonna get some stuff, try to get it scheduled ahead because the
Mhm.
baby will be here soon, and we don't know exactly when. We have an idea, but you never know.
You never know. So
So yeah, if you rock with me,
Alright.
then you rock with us. We'll see you in the next one.
bye.